Marsden, Fiona and Imogen Boorman star in Euripides' classical drama of vengeance and sacrifice, Iphigenia at Aulis.
In front of the hut. Stand here.
I'm coming. Full of bright ideas, King Agamemnon, eh?
Hurry.
I'm hurrying. I don't sleep much. Too old for that. Old age keeps your eyes sharp as a sentry.
What star's that? Like a ship crossing the night sky.
That's Sirius, next to 7 Pleiades. Still rising in the mid-heaven.
No bird song. Even the sound of the sea is muffled. But the lack of wind, that silence holds back more than the tide in the straits of Euripides.
But why come out of your hut, King Agamemnon, just to pace up and down the same few steps? All quiet at Aulis tonight. Not a sound from the guard towers on the walls. Let's go back in.
Old friend, I envy you. I envy anyone who can get through life unnoticed, avoiding danger and without fame. Famous men, great leaders, I don't envy them at all.
But they get all the glory, sir. They win life's prizes.
Yes, you say so, but glory's dangerous and honor slippery. You have it and it's gone. Ambition for leadership is an addiction, thrilling, but painful in the end. If the gods' wishes and a man's will conflict, his life will be smashed. A men's conflicting demands shred you like a grater.
I don't like to hear this sort of talk from a great king, Lord Agamemnon. Atreus fathered you not just for the pleasures of kingship and a life of unbroken good luck. Pain as well as celebration you must expect. You're a man, born mortal. And the gods, regardless of whether you like it or not, will have their way. You light your lamp, it flares up, spreads enough light for you to write a letter. You're still holding it in your hand. You write a bit, then cross it out, then write some more and cross it out again. Seal it up, immediately unseal it, even throw it on the ground. And all the time weeping real tears. You looked so desperate. You seemed half mad with some trouble or other. Is it bad news that causes all this grief? You can tell me, my lord, I'm loyal and trustworthy. I came with your wife. Sent with her from Tyndareus. I was part of the dowry.
Thestius' daughter Leda bore 3 daughters. Phoebe, Clytemnestra, who became my wife, and Helen. All the leading young men of Greece were mad for Helen and came as suitors, each one threatening his rival with murder and mayhem if he didn't get the girl. Tyndareus, her father, was baffled how either in giving or refusing her to avoid disaster. But then an idea struck him, a pact that all the suitors should consent to, shaking hands and confirm with all the usual religious ceremonies, burnt offering, the pouring of wine, etc., which would bind every one of them by oath to defend and support whichever man won the daughter of Tyndareus as his wife, in the event that anyone should abduct her from her husband's bed. Whoever he was, Greek or barbarian, they would mount a fully armed expeditionary force against him and destroy his city. When they committed themselves, and old Tyndareus, being a crafty fellow, had sewn them up neatly with his logic, he smartly allowed his daughter to let the breath of the goddess of love blow her towards whichever one of the suitors she chose. And she chose, God help us, him, of all people, Menelaus. Not long after that, from Troy, the principal city of Phrygia, a young fellow by the name of Paris, the very same man, according to the story, rife among all the Greeks, who judged between the 3 goddesses and chose beauty before wisdom and power, turned up in Sparta. The splendor of his dress was barbaric, a vulgar ostentation of gold and jewels, cloth of gold, flowered silk, and gems in the shape of flowers, glittering, shining. Helen was dazed with lust for him and he for her. He picked his moment. Menelaus was out of the country, and he dragged her off to his byres and bartons and pigsties on Mount Ida. Menelaus raved like a madman through all the cities of Greece, invoking Tyndareus' old treaty they'd all set their hands to, claiming, indeed demanding, that they must all stand by their guarantees and launch a punitive expedition to sack Troy. So all the Greeks sprang from their chairs, took down spears and shields and body armor from the walls, and came here to this natural harbor of Aulis opposite the Narrows, with their ships, their heavy armor, thousands of horse, and their decorated battle chariots. And they gave supreme command to me for Menelaus' sake, because I'm his brother. And I swear to God, I wish any other man had been given that honor rather than me. And now that we're all here, mustered in Aulis, this vast army, there's not a breath of wind, and we all wait, becalmed, unable to launch even one ship. And we have waited and waited, and we began to despair, till the priest Calchas spoke. And he said that we must offer my daughter, my child, Iphigenia, as a sacrifice to the goddess of this place, Artemis, who has a sanctuary here. And then, only then, the wind would change. We could sail to Phrygia and sack Troy. When I heard this, I immediately told Talthybius, our communications and propaganda officer, to announce the disbandment of the whole army, because I could not conceivably ever be so brutal as to kill my own child. When he heard this, my brother begged me. He wheedled and exerted every argument of persuasion he could think of, till finally he forced me to agree to this damnable business. I wrote a letter, folded it and folded again, and sent it to my wife. It told her to send our daughter here to be married to Achilles. I made a great fuss of him, told her how heroic he was, praised him to the skies, and said he absolutely refused to sail with us unless a bride should be sent from our family to return with him to his house in Thea. I was sure this pack of lies about our daughter's marriage would be convincing enough to persuade my wife. Of all the Greeks, only the priest Calchas, Odysseus, and Menelaus and myself know about this. I did that. And I was wrong. So in this new letter, I changed my decision back to what I decided in the first place. That's what I was doing, writing and rewriting, sealing and unsealing in my heart in the dark. Now take it, go on, get to Argos fast. Oh, wait. I'd better let you into the secret, sealed up in there word for word. You're a good old fellow. You've been loyal to my wife and to me for years.
Yes, you should tell me so that what I say doesn't conflict with what's written in the letter.
Further to my last letter, daughter of leader, these new instructions. Do not send, repeat, not send your daughter here to this peaceful harbor of Aulis on the Gulf of Euboea. It seems we must celebrate our daughter's marriage at some other future time.
But if Achilles is cheated of his bride, he'll explode with anger, surely. His fury towards you and your wife will be terrifying. You surely don't intend that to happen.
No, I'm merely using his name. He's not required to do anything. In fact, he knows nothing of the matter. He's party to none of the plans, least of all the scheme of his own pretended marriage to my daughter.
It's clever, Lord Agamemnon, but dangerous to pretend you're bringing her here to marry the son of an immortal, when really she'll be given to the Greeks to be butchered.
Don't say that! It drives me mad to hear it. I feel as though my head's breaking in pieces. Now get moving, superannuated fool. Forget your legs are old. Run like a boy.
Fast as I can, my lord.
Make sure you don't sit down by that spring in the forest and fall asleep.
Oh, as if I would, sir.
When you come to that place where the road forks, look sharply in both directions and make sure no carriage slips past you while you're looking the other way and brings her here to where the whole Greek fleet is anchored.
I'll take care of that, sir.
Even if you meet her at the very gates with her guards and outriders, stop them, grab the reins yourself, and drive her straight back inside the city walls. They're so massive, the one-eyed giants built them, so the legend says, when Argos was founded.
Just a minute, though, sir. Why should your wife and daughter believe me when I tell them all this?
This is my seal. See? Here on the letter. Now make sure it's unbroken. Get moving. The sky's graying already. The four-horse chariot of the sun is galloping towards the eastern horizon, flooding the sea and sky with light. It's up to you to save me. No man lives happy to the end of his life, nor avoids his share of bad luck. We inherit grief merely by being born.
Across the narrow seas of Euripides through the fast-running tide and landed here on the sandy beach of Aulis.
My home is on the other side of the straits.
Calchas, where Arethusa's praise her fountain of fresh spring water within reach of the salt sea itself.
I have come to gaze in wonder at the Achaean force. And the forest of sea-going oars that will pull the slender pine ships 1,000 strong.
By the strength of brave men's arms, the long journey to Troy.
Led by the powerful red-headed Menelaus and noble Agamemnon, the king. They'll drag her back here, our husbands say. Helen, whom Aphrodite gave as a prize to Paris, the prince who lived as a shepherd. He found her where the sighing reed beds whispered by the river Eurotas. as was promised when the goddess arose, glistening from her bath in a fountain of spray. When Hera and Pallas and she competed so bitterly for his voice on that judgment day.
I ran through the sacred grove of trees by Artemis' temple where they offer fresh blood from the victims' throats.
My cheeks are crimson with embarrassment that in such a crowd we should come to gawp at the Greek armies.
Their huge interlinked shields like a brazen wall.
The weapons in their armories all stacked by their tents.
The heavy cavalry.
But most of all, the men. Ajax I saw, Oileus' son, just sitting there, talking to the other Ajax, son of Telamone. He was looking every inch the part of the superstar of Salamis.
And nearby, Protesilaus was playing draughts and enjoying the interplay of chance and strategy with Palamedes, the sea god's grandson.
Diomedes, too, was working out with the discus and reveling in showing off his strength.
And strolling close by, Myriones in battle worth 2 normal men, who claims the war goddess his paternity. And Laertes' son is here from mountainous Ithaca. And Nereus, isn't he a beauty? I saw who runs fast as the wind, whom Thetis the sea nymph bore, and was tutored by Cairo in body and mind.
He was sprinting along the
Seashore with a full armor on his back, keeping pace for pace with one of the crack charioteers for battle and track. Eumelos with a racing four, and the son of Corytius spurred on his team around the lap marker to win. And he tickled their flanks with his whip, and the scream of the driver himself urged them on. Their bits and harness were all gold, the yoke horses grey with manes piebald. Red made the trace horses, but patterned with bold black and white to the fetlock down. The son of Peleus in full pack ran with them and matched each stride, while the whirring wheels and the screaming axle and the bouncing chariot rail raced inches from his side.
And I saw an armada of ships in the bay, too many to count, awesome beyond measure.
I couldn't speak, I was dumb with the joy. A sight for my eyes to feed on and treasure, as a bee feeds on nectar and stores honey.
Massing on the right, their oars keeping time, the Myrmidons' battle galleys hove to.
Fast movers from Thea, like a full rhyme closing the line. High above the waters, carved on the sterns in gold.
I saw in full view Achilles' coat of arms, Poseidon's sea-born daughters.
Keel by keel with them, equal in number, the 50 ships of Argos stood.
Sthenelus, tough Capandio's son, captained a squadron.
And the pride of Teleos' blood, Mephistus' heir, was supreme commander.
On station beside them stood 60 ships from Attica.
Their admiral, the son of Theseus.
For his emblem he keeps Pallas herself carved as she flew in her winged four-handed chariot.
A symbol sure to bring good luck to any Athenian crew.
With my own eyes I saw Boeotia's naval power, a fleet of 50 ships.
And each one crowned with a carven figurehead.
While at each standpost stood Cadmus with a golden dragon curled round.
Laertes, born of a giant, the ancient earth herself commanded.
Ajax, Oileus' son, led 50 worth his fame, assembled from Phocus and from Locris, sailing on from their point of embarkation, famous Thronion.
From Argos, Cyclops' walls, the son of Atreus calls men by the 1,000 to cruise 100 ships.
With him his friend and brother sails as co-commander.
So that Greece may take full payment for the lips sold in marriage to a barbarian, and the hearth and home destroyed.
Nestor from Gerenion, loath to be unemployed, sails in ignoring his great age.
With bullfoot Alpheus, the river god, as his badge.
Ajax from Salamis held the center, joining right wing and left together, maneuvering his line of light, fast-moving craft to meet and link his wings with the rest of the fleet, like closing a chain. The task force was ready, as if on parade, both army and navy. No commando, raid, or foreign battle fleet would dare to face so vast a navy and hope for safe return to base.
Like a city on the sea, I watched the Greek fleet assembling in the bay.
Others may speak of it, but my eyes have seen it.
I will never forget this day.
Menelaus, no, my lord! Menelaus, you dare not! Have you no conscience?
Get off! Questioning loyalty is as bad.
You mean that is an insult, but I call it praise.
Look, if you overstep the mark, you'll be sorry.
You've no right to open the letter I was carrying.
The letter you were carrying betrays every one of us.
You carry on shouting, but give me the letter.
I've got it and I'll keep it.
Oh, well, let it go.
Bloody your head with this baton if you don't.
I'll die for my master then and be famous.
Let go! The Batman, you talk too much.
My lord, this is an outrage. Come out, sir. This man has torn your letter from my hand, Agamemnon, by force, quite without conscience.
Vader!
What's all this racket, this abuse of my door?
Listen to me first. This man's a servant.
Menelaus, what's this brawling? Let go of the man.
Pay attention to me then, I'll tell you from the start.
Atreus was my father. I'll look any man in the
This
eye.
letter is treasonable, a complete betrayal.
I can see it, so first of all, give it to me.
No, not till I've shown it to the army.
So you've broken the seal. It's none of your business.
Unfortunately for you, I know your filthy plan.
How'd you get hold of it? Have you no shame?
Waiting on the road from Argos for your daughter.
How dare you spy on me? The impudence!
When you have an itch, you have to scratch. I'm not your slave.
It's outrageous to interfere in my family affairs.
You're devious and unreliable. Yours have been.
Smart talk! Excuses for shabby behavior!
You've no character or resolution. You're quite capable of wickedness and impossible to trust even for your friends. I'm going to show you up for what you are. Don't turn away like that! It'll be the truth without any exaggeration, so don't dismiss it with a show of anger. You remember, I'm sure, how keen you were to get the supreme command of the Greek task force against Troy, and how you wanted it. There was no pretense about that. How very self-deprecating you were, eager to press the flesh with any uniform or suit, doors always open, a universal welcome. You always granted the pleasure of your company to anyone, even if they didn't want it, as if by sweet talk and glad handing the whole country, you could buy the command in the open market. But then when your appointment had been confirmed, suddenly you were a changed man. Friends were no longer friends overnight. No one could get near you. You were always unobtainable. Your headquarters doors more often locked than open. A great man, a man of genuine nobility who achieves a position of power, does not celebrate his good fortune by cutting all his friends dead at the very time when he is able to do them so good. I saw the contemptible side of your character straight away. But then when you came here, the whole Panhelletic army trembling at your command, you became a non-entity. You panicked. You were struck dumb or cursed your bad luck because there was no wind. And without wind, none of us could get across to Troy. The word went round the army. All the Greek commanders began to mutter that they were wasting their time, that we might as well disband the army, decommission the ships, instead of spending time and money at Aulis for no purpose. You were being called of all damning descriptions. An unlucky general. You began to see your great dream of leading 1,000 ships to Troy, of darkening the plain before Priam's city, with division upon division of infantry disappearing before your eyes. You asked my advice then quickly enough. What can I do? How can we get across or get out of this trap without me losing what I value most? The glory of command! And then when Calchas came up with a solution that you should offer your child to Artemis as a sacred blood sacrifice in return for fair winds and an easy passage, you were delighted. You jumped at the suggestion. You willingly offered to murder your daughter, in fact, of your own volition. None of us forced you. You can't say we did. You hurried word to your wife to send your child here with a rigmarole about her marrying Achilles. And now, with yet another U-turn, you've been caught out, secretly changing your story once again with another letter. You will never be your daughter's murderer, but you will. You know what you said. The very air, the sky above our heads heard you say it. Well, it's not surprising, I suppose. Thousands of men have done the same. Struggled inch by inch up the slippery slope to power, and then when they got there, slid ignominiously back down to the bottom. Sometimes it's because the voters are too dim to understand what they're doing. Other times, they're simply not up to the job. It's Greece I feel sorry for. She intended to act honorably. Now she's humiliated, made a laughing stock by a bunch of effeminate barbarians. And all because of you and your little girl. It's always a mistake in politics and in military matters to appoint a leader because of his family or his connections. Any man with a modicum of sense can rule a city. An army commander needs intelligence, brains.
It's a terrible thing when angry words and the threat of blows
Causes such division between brothers.
Now, I shall have my say. I shall be critical but brief and stay within the bounds of decency without being contemptuous to the point of demeaning myself. You are, after all, my brother. A gentleman recognizes certain norms of behavior. He treats other people with courtesy and respect. What's the point of all this blustering and eyes bloodshot with fury? Has someone wronged you? And if so, what do you expect me to do about it? If a faithful wife is what you want, I'm afraid I can't help you there. You let the one you have run riot. So am I to pay for your mistakes when I'm myself quite blameless? What gnaws at your self-esteem is not my rank, nor the honors that have been heaped on me. Deal with reason, forethought, or any kind of decent behavior. All you want is to get that lascivious woman back in your arms and into bed. The pleasures of a degraded mind are like itself degraded. If I, on the other hand, initially made a bad decision and after coming to my senses changed my mind, does that make me mad? No, you're the mad one. You had the good luck to lose a wife who was worthless. The gods granted you that good fortune. And now you're mad enough to want the bitch back. All the suitors were half crazed with lust for her and like fools consented to swear at Indarius' oath. That most deceiving of goddesses, hope, no doubt leading them on. It certainly wasn't out of any sense of loyalty to you. Well, then go and get them to be your army and do your fighting. They're ready enough for any madness. The gods are not lacking in intelligence. They can tell the difference between genuine vows and oaths sworn foolishly or under duress. I will not kill my children. You won't get revenge on your worthless wife at the expense of my sense of justice, leaving me years of misery and a guilty conscience for an unforgivable crime committed against a child of my own flesh. So there you are. Few words, brief and to the point. You may choose to act like a madman. My business, particularly with my own family, will be conducted with decency and common sense.
These words completely contradict what you said before.
But it must be right to spare your child.
That leaves me naked with no friends at all.
You'll have friends if you don't try to destroy them.
No one will believe that you are my brother.
I'm your brother in common sense,
Your
not
brother's
lunacy.
his brother's agony!
You're just, I'll help you this way, you'll destroy me.
Greece needs you! Won't you share her agony?
Greece has gone mad! The gods have touched you all.
You glory in the power your field marshal's baton gives you, and yet you choose to betray me. Very well. There are other methods.
Other friends?
Agamemnon! Agamemnon! King of the Greek army. I am one of the escort traveling with your daughter to Aulis. The one you called Iphigenia when you were at home. Her mother is with her. Your Clytemnestra in person. And your baby boy, Orestes. It'll give you particular pleasure to see him, having been away from home for so long. We had a tough journey. I left the women relaxing by a fresh spring. They're cooling their feet in the pond. We unharnessed the horses, turned them loose to graze in a nearby field, while I ran on ahead to tell you what's happened. The army knows all about it. But you know how fast rumor travels. Everyone seems to know about your daughter's arrival. A big crowd's already come out from the camp, trying to get a look at her. Everyone likes to see famous people with the good luck to be born rich and gossip about them. They're all safe. What's going on? Is some marriage or what? Or has Agamemnon brought his daughter here simply because he's missing her? I've heard some others, though, who say it's a consecration to Artemis, the Virgin Queen of Aulis, by way of preparation for marriage. Yeah. So, who's to be the lucky bridegroom? Yeah. Well, if it's true, come on, then we must prepare baskets of flowers and floral crowns. And Lord Menelaus, you must organize the music. Send for the flutes, but make sure there's plenty of dancing. A day like this, from first dawn onward, should be all happiness for the girl.
Your news, go inside. If the gods are with us, things will turn out well.
Yes! Agamemnon! 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 Yes!
What can I say or do in a situation like this? I'm like a man who's fallen into a pit and finds himself chained there. Bad luck has second-guessed me. Every move I make is counted, every tactic outwitted by a better one. It's better to be born nobody. Non-entities can cry their eyes out and blurt out everything to anyone. For our sort, born in a ruling class, we must keep our mouths shut, suffer in silence to protect our position and our dignity. The masses are our masters, we their slaves. And that's my situation, exactly. I'm ashamed to cry about it, but I'd be ashamed not to cry too. Nothing could be worse than being caught in a trap as appalling as this. And what in heaven's name shall I say to my wife? How can I face her? How can I look her in the eyes? What possible expression can my face wear as it receives her and welcomes her here to Aulis? I've troubles enough. She's made them far worse by coming here uninvited. And yet it's reasonable enough, natural even, that she should want to come with her daughter to see her married and to give her a mother's kisses and endearments on our wedding day. And then she'll find out soon enough, if I know her, what mischief I planned. But what of the poor maid herself? Why do I call her that? The god of the dead will take her virginity soon enough. It's unendurable to imagine. Was she certain to plead with me? Will you kill me, Daddy, you? Then let death be your bride too, and marry everyone you love the same as me. And Orestes will be there, my little boy. He cannot speak yet, but he'll understand. His unintelligible cries will speak far too clearly to my heart. Paris, Priam's son, you are the instigator of all this pain. Your love for Helen, it's destroyed me!
What a moving speech.
He's a king and I'm a woman from a foreign city.
But I sympathize with his grief.
Brother, let me shake you by the hand.
Yes, why not? You're the winner. I've lost.
Brother, by Pelops, our famous grandfather, and by Atreus, who fathered both of us, I swear I'm speaking the plain truth now, direct from the heart, with no hidden motives or any self-advantage, but an honest analysis of the facts of the case, and whatever wisdom I have learned in my life. When I saw the tears in your eyes, I couldn't help pitying you. In fact, the tears welled up in my eyes, too. I retract unconditionally all the words and arguments I've used against you. I'm not your enemy, nor implacable, nor destructive in any way towards you. I stand in your shoes, and I beg you not to kill your child on my account, or put my interests in any way before your own. It's not right that you should suffer for my pleasure, or that your child should die while my children live and enjoy the light of day. What is it, after all, I want to achieve? A good marriage? I could take my pick anywhere in the world if I wanted. Shall I destroy the last person in the world? I should injure my own brother for the sake of the likes of Helen, prefer the wicked woman to the good man. I've been thinking stupidly and selfishly like an adolescent. Till watching you, I suddenly had a clear image of what it means to kill a child. I was anguished with pity for her, and I realized, too, that we are related, that it is my own niece that is to be killed to preserve my marriage. And what has your daughter to do with Helen? Nothing in the world. So disband the army, send them all home, away from Aulis. Anything, brother, to wipe away these tears from your cheek and mine, too, weeping in sympathy. And even if you should have any secret information about this sacrifice which makes it particularly acceptable to the gods, let me be quite clear. I want no part of it. My share, the guilt, and all the advantages I willingly hand over to you. So you see, I changed my mind. All my hostility towards you was gone, or changed, rather, into something like love. So it should. You are my brother. Don't think it cowardice or weakness that makes me change my mind, or policy masquerading as love. I'm simply determined to discover the right direction, the best course for all of us, and follow it through to the end.
Inspiring words, and worthy Tantalus, the son of Zeus.
Your ancestors would be proud of you.
What can I say, Menelaus, to thank you and praise your integrity? Beyond all expectation, you have spoken with an honesty and justice worthy of the man I know you to be. The brothers will always fight over women and money. The most lucrative marriage, the lion's share of the property, or simply because they're brothers and blood relationships so often turn sour. I hate all that. That sibling rivalry and family feuding. I reject it as unworthy. But the fact is, your generosity doesn't help. We're boxed in by circumstance or like an animal in a net. There's no alternative. I must murder my child.
No! Why? Your own child! What compels you to do it?
This whole Greek army encamp all around us.
No, it doesn't. Not if you send her back home.
She might escape in secret. I can't.
Listen, ignore the rabble. They don't matter.
Calchas will go public. The whole army will know.
What if we kill him first? It's possible.
God damn all ambitious political priests.
They're useless to man or beast while they live.
The possibilities are terrifying. Don't they frighten you?
I don't know. Not until you tell me what they are.
Odysseus of Sisyphus' clan. He knows everything.
So what? Odysseus can't hurt us,
He's
too.
crafty and very popular with the troops.
He's consumed with ambition. That can be dangerous.
But don't you think he'll make the most of his opportunity? He'll stand up in front of the whole army and explain every detail of Calchas' prophecy line by line. He'll tell them I promised to go along with it and make the sacrifice, and they retracted my promise. With that sort of speech in our situation, he could stage a coup, take command of the army, and have us both killed, as well as the girl. And if we escape, what could stop him bringing the whole army to Argos? Cyclops built walls and all, taking the place by storm, killing me and mine, and occupying the whole country. With an army this size, it's possible. I have to take it into account. So you see what an appalling situation I'm in. How utterly I'm trapped. I despair of any solution save a stoical acceptance of the will of the gods, whatever that costs me. But one thing, Menelaus, you can do for me. Speak to everybody important in the army. Make sure Clytemnestra doesn't hear a single word of this, or not before I've taken the child away from her and seen the whole business through. When she's dead, I mean. That way, at least, I'll be able to do the evil thing I have to do with a minimum of tears. And you, foreign women from Calchas, keep silent if you value your lives.
People are happy who relish love's pleasure, enjoying Aphrodite's sensual embrace as a ship riding easy on a calm sea, avoiding the obsession that leads to disgrace. For sex, like a horsefly, can madden with its sting, and Eros has 2 arrows to his string beneath that deceptive golden hair. A mere scratch from the first brings lifelong joy, but the second wounds to death and breeds despair. Goddess born in Cyprus, keep my bedroom safe from that mortal arrow. Make love in my life a steady, continuing delight, not obsessional or destructive. Let me serve the great queen with ecstasy, as is her right, but commit no crimes for her, nor become her slave.
The deepest secret of human nature is variety.
There are as many ways of living as there are men and women to live them.
But the morality of the good life obeys the simplest of principles.
It is clear, straightforward, and comprehensible. The wise never fear life's disasters, if virtue has been their discipline from childhood.
To judge from a moral standpoint, even in detail,
Brings stability to strangers and kin.
And there is no satisfaction like doing what is to be done properly and well.
Reputation is won.
Even fame that way.
And such fame endures.
For women, allowing a chaste fidelity is Aphrodite's most secret joy. A man secures, through all the variety of his gifts, fame through integrity. Paris, you return to the place of your birth as a shepherd upon Mount Ida's slopes, where the white heifers graze. You play the folk melodies of your native earth on the Phrygian flute, whose simple stops Olympus invented in legendary days. Full of milk the cattle grazed when the goddesses chose you. And that choice drove you like a man possessed to Greece, to a palace of inlaid ivory, where you stood amazed at the beauty of Helen's eyes, fed deep upon them, and saw desire burn there, like the uncontrollable fire consuming your own heart. Ecstasies that caused these men to march and ships deploy for two goddesses' injured pride, to shatter with chariot and spear the citadels and towers of Troy.
The aristocrats. The masters of the earth. Princess Iphigenia. The king's daughter. And the great queen Clytemnestra. Whose illustrious birth blessed in Darius' family. Their happy fate sets them at the summit of good fortune and wealth. Power is theirs. And glory. Like gods create pleasure or pain. Plenty or death. Yeah!
Chariot! Offer to the queen a helping hand.
She must not stumble. Give her gentle support with your arm till she's safe on the ground.
And Iphigenia, Agamemnon's famous daughter, have no fear.
We are your hosts.
There's no cause for alarm.
The great ladies of Aulis are welcome here.
This warm greeting and courteous speech of welcome promises good luck, as much as any fortunate pattern of birds in flight. And I have certainly come here today with the best of expectations, to bring this bride to a most suitable and happy marriage. Yeah! I have brought wedding gifts as a dowry. Yeah! I'll load them from the cart with the greatest of care and bring them into this building. And now, my dear girl, so like a child still, so tender and fragile, step down carefully. And you, women, take her arm and help her from the carriage. Now, safely. Don't fall. And then one of you hold out an arm to support me so that I can get down from my seat with reasonable grace. And now, the child, the son of Agamemnon! Arms for him! His name is Orestes. He's not talking yet, a tiny baby still, you see. There, my little boy. The rocking of the carriage made you nod off. Wake up, little fellow, and wish your sister luck. The son of a fine man, himself a tremendous fellow, whose mother was a sea nymph, one of the Nereids, is going to marry her. Here, my child. Take your place, close by your mother. Sit there, Iphigenia, as a daughter should, and show these people how lucky I am in my children. And what a family group we make together. Look. Here comes your father. Stand up, child, and show how pleased you are to see him.
Don't be angry if I beat you to it, Mother, and cuddle him tight before you do.
Not yet. My lord and master, godlike Agamemnon. We are here, as you commanded us to be.
But I must be first, Father, to hold you in my arms after so long. Just to look at you. I've missed you so much. Mother, don't be angry.
No, this is just as it should be. Of all my children, you've always loved your father most.
I'm so happy, Father. It's been such a long time.
And for me, I feel just the same as you do.
You did the right thing, Daddy, bringing me here.
Perhaps so. I don't know what to say. Perhaps not.
What? Why look at me like that if you're so glad to see me?
A king, a general, has many things on his mind.
Forget all that now. This moment is all mine.
All yours, then, for one moment. No responsibilities.
Smooth away those frowns, then. Fill your eyes with love.
There, then, my dear child. I'm so happy to see you.
Don't cry, then. There's no need to cry now.
We'll be parted too soon for a long time.
How can you say so? What do you mean?
You speak so wisely, I can't hold back my tears.
I'll talk rubbish then if that makes you feel better.
Oh, God, how can I not tell her? Thank you, my dear.
Don't go, Father. Stay at home with your children.
I'd love to, but I can't, and it's agony for me.
To hell with all wars, and Menelaus and his troubles.
Many men will go to hell for him. Me too, in the end.
You've been here in the Bay of Aulis too long.
We should sail at once, but something prevents us.
Where do they say they live, Father, these Trojans?
Where Paris lives, Priam's son. I wish to God he didn't.
It's a long journey, then. And you're leaving me behind.
Yours is a long journey, too, like mine.
We could travel together, then. You could arrange it.
No, your journey is different. You must remember me.
Will my mother sail with me? Or must I travel alone?
You'll sail alone, without father or mother.
Have you found me a new home, Father? Where is it?
Well, that's enough. There are some things young girls shouldn't know.
Sort the Phrygians out quickly, Daddy, and come back to me.
I must perform a sacrifice before I go.
Of course you must. The right sacred rituals.
You'll be there, too, by the holy water.
Shall I be part of the ceremonies at the altar?
What wouldn't I give to be as blessedly ignorant as you are? Go inside now, child. You shouldn't be seen in public, only by your women. But give me a kiss first. Hold my hand tight. You'll soon be gone away from me a long way, and for too long a time. Your bosom is so soft. Your cheeks so fresh and childlike. Your golden hair. That city of the Phrygians and Helen. Why should they lay such a savage weight of responsibility on you? I must stop. Stop talking like this. Even to touch you makes me weep like a baby in spite of myself. Go inside my headquarters. My apologies, daughter of leader. The thought of losing my daughter to Achilles breaks my heart. Partings of this kind should be happy ones, of course, but for the parents and the father, particularly, to give his daughter to another man after bringing her up with so much love and care for so long, can't help being painful.
I'm not without feelings myself. You may be sure I shall feel equally heartbroken when I hear the wedding hymn sung for my daughter, so I can hardly blame you for feeling now what I shall feel then. But time and custom will ease the pain. You've told me the name of the man you have engaged to be married to my child, but is he of good family? Where's he from? I should like to know.
Well, Aesopus had a daughter named Regina.
And who married her, a man or a god?
It was Zeus, he fathered Aeacus, the ruler of Annone.
And which of his sons inherited the property?
Peleus, who married Athene, Nereus' daughter.
With the gods' agreement or in spite of them?
Zeus himself made the match. He gave her away.
Where did he marry the sea nymph? Underwater?
On the sacred slopes of Mount Pelion, Chiron's home.
Where the centaurs live. Half man, half horse, so they say.
The gods held a banquet there in Peleus' honor.
And who brought up Achilles, Thetis or his father?
Chiron taught him to avoid the wickedness of man.
Ooh, wise teacher. Even wiser father.
Well, this is the man who will marry your daughter.
He could hardly be bettered. Is his hometown in Greece?
In the mountains of Thea on the river Apidanos.
And that's where you'll take your daughter and mine.
Well, that's his business when he's married her.
Oh, my best wishes to them both. When's the wedding day?
The next full moon, for good luck.
Have you made the blood sacrifice to Artemis for her sake?
Well, I'm about to. The matter's well in hand.
And the marriage feast itself, will that be held later?
Yes. The sacrifice to the gods must come first.
And where shall I hold the women folks' party?
We're here in the shadow of the Greek ships.
What? On the dockside? Well, I should have to make the best of it.
You know what's required of you. Please do it.
Yes, perfectly. I ought to by now.
Meanwhile, we the men, in the bridegroom's company...
Will do what? Without me? It's a mother's business.
Before the Greek army, I shall give away my daughter.
And where, pray, shall I be while all this is going on?
Back home in Argos, looking after your other girls.
Leaving my daughter? I must light her wedding torches.
I shall light them myself. That will be suitable.
It's unheard of. It's an outrage to all decency.
It's an outrage to see women in an army encampment.
It's a mother's place to give away her child.
It's her place to look after her daughters at home.
They're quite safe. Well guarded in the women's wing.
Listen to me.
No! By the greatest goddess of the Greeks, you give your orders out here. Domestic affairs, including my daughter's marriage, are my business.
Well, God help me. That little plan blew up in my face. To get my wife out of the way was the first necessity, and I failed to do even that. Even a conspiracy against my nearest and dearest proves more than I can handle. I must talk to Calchas, find out exactly what the goddess demands, and if this personal disaster and shameful calamity against the whole Greek nation is in any way avoidable. The sensible man keeps a quiet, reliable, domestic wife who stays at home. Or no wife at all.
of Simois, the Greeks will come with their massive fleet, landing cavalry divisions and uncounted ranks of heavy infantry, assembling a terrible war machine on the plains of Troy, the city sacred to Apollo.
And already I can hear the god-driven shout of Cassandra as she lashes her yellow laurel-crowned hair like a whip.
And the voice of prophecy weeps at the horrors it sees in its visionary frenzy.
On the battle towers of Troy and along the walls encircling the city, the whole nation of Trojans will stand watching, awestruck.
As if the war god himself led the invasion of bronze shields, like mirrored fire from the sea.
The rhythmic falls of rank upon rank of disciplined doors,
powering the high-prowed troopships to the many-channeled mouth of Simois.
One burning desire driving all this machinery of war, that Helen, by birth sister of the heavenly twins, should be dragged, protesting or not, by force of Greek swords and shields to a grim homecoming. Then the vengeful Greek army will draw a circle of blood round the stone towers of Pergamon, the rich Phrygian city the world knows as Troy.
Both the wretch who cowers in the shadows and the hero will be haled out by the hair, and their naked throats severed or slashed to the ear.
As the columns totter and the rafters crash and the whole great city is flat.
The screaming of womenfolk, young girls sobbing, gasps for pity, even from Priam's queen, will be drowned in a flood of weeping. And Helen herself, Zeus' daughter, in the ash of her burned-out dreams,
will understand that rash actions have fearful consequences.
And the fatal dowry to be paid for leaving a husband.
My most passionate prayer is that neither my children nor grandchildren should ever wash their eyes with such tears as the gold-robed Lydians will weep, or know the despair of the millionaire wives of Troy as they stand by their looms and cry, "Who is the man who will drag me by the hair till the tears start from my eyes, and tear me by the roots from my native earth as a hooligan tears up a flower, while my homeland dies all round me?"
The author of our despair is you, daughter of the long-necked swan.
For Zeus, the story says, assumed the shape of a white-winged bird to bring your beauty to birth, if the legend's true of the immortal rape of Leda.
Unless poets weave their fantasies in vain, hoping with childish dreams to soothe our pain.
Where is the supreme commander of the Greek expeditionary force? This is headquarters. You there, aide, staff officer, or whatever you are. Tell him Achilles, the son of Peleus, is here and must see him. This hanging about by the straits of Euripus inconveniences some men more than others. Some of us are not yet married, have left our fathers at home undefended, and sit here idly sunbathing on the beach, while married men have their wives and families to consider. It's strange. This obsession to join the expedition against Troy, how it possesses everyone. It's the gods' business we do here, for sure. They guide our hands. But I speak for myself. Any other man can say what he likes, and my complaint is that I've left Pharsalus and my old governor Peleus, and now I'm stuck here, waiting for the merest breeze to ripple the straits of Euripus, with my crack regiment, the Myrmidons, sitting on their hands. Day after day, they grouse at me. Achilles, they say, what are we waiting for? How much longer must we wait for our little trip to Troy? Do something if you can, or else let's all go home instead of wasting time here while the two sons of Atreus try to make up their minds and, as usual, fail.
Even from inside, Son of the sea goddess, I heard what you were saying, so I came out at once.
Spare my blushes, goddess of good manners, at the approach of such a beautiful woman.
You don't know me. That's not surprising. We've never met. But thank you for your courtesy.
Who are you? What are you doing here in the Greek camp surrounded by armed men?
I am Leda's daughter. Clytemnestra is my name. The king, Agamemnon, is my husband.
Well, that's brief and to the point, just as it should be. Can't talk here with a woman, much too embarrassing.
Wait, don't run away. Take my hand in yours and pray for a happy marriage.
I beg your pardon? You want me to hold hands with Agamemnon's wife? That's really not done.
Of course it is. It's perfectly right and proper since you're marrying my daughter, son of the sea nymph.
I'm marrying... I'm speechless. What are you talking about? Are you making this up or are you mad?
Naturally, you're embarrassed. Everyone is when marriage is on the cards and they meet their new relations.
Madam, I'm not marrying anyone. I've never even met your daughter, and Agamemnon said nothing.
What does this mean? I see that my words come as a surprise to you. You'll seem to be staggered.
Just a moment now. Let's think. Put both heads together. Maybe neither of us is talking nonsense.
Well, it seems I've been made a fool of, traveling here to celebrate a non-existent marriage. Well, how insulting!
Someone has made a fool of both of us, so... That's a mere bagatelle. Don't take it to heart.
No, sir. Goodbye. I have been humiliated and made to seem a liar. I cannot look you in the face.
Goodbye to you too, madam. I'm going inside that headquarters building to find your husband.
Sir, just a minute. Aika's grandson, aren't you, son of a goddess? And you too, daughter of Leda.
Who's that in the doorway, too scared to speak out loud?
Just a slave, sir, with no pretensions. You can see that at a glance.
Whose slave? None of my people work for Agamemnon.
Her, sir, over there. I came with her from Tyndareus.
Well, I'm waiting. If you've anything to say, say it.
Are you two alone out there in front of the doors?
Yes, we are. You can speak. Come away from that hut.
With good luck and good thinking, I can save someone's life.
This old man knows something important.
If you've got something to say, don't bother with hand-kissing.
You know me, madam, loyal to you and your daughter.
Yes, one of my father's serfs in the palace.
I came to King Agamemnon as part of your dowry.
Yes, you travelled to Argos with me. You've always been mine.
And my loyalty's to you, ma'am, more than your husband.
Well, speak out, then, if you have some secret information.
Your daughter. Her own father. The murderer. He plans to kill her.
What? I'll make you eat your words. Have you gone mad?
With a knife he'll do it. Cut her poor white throat.
Oh, my God. My husband. Is the man insane?
Oh, he's sane enough, except about you and your daughter.
For what reason? What possesses him to do such a thing?
The gods demanded, Calchas says, before the fleet can sail.
Sail? Where? Am I his wife? Is he my husband?
To Troy, so Menelaus can drag Helen back home.
So must my Iphigenia die to ransom Helen?
That's the gist. Her father will sacrifice your child to Artemis.
So the marriage was a pretext to persuade me to bring her here?
So you'd be happy to bring her, to marry her to Achilles?
Oh, my daughter. I've brought you to your destruction, and mine.
It's terrible for both of you, but that Agamemnon should dare.
Oh, this is agony. I can't stay here. I'll weep.
Who can hold back his tears when a child dies?
But, old man, tell me, listen, how did you find this out?
I was on my way to you with a second letter.
Confirming or cancelling the order to bring her to her death?
Telling you not to bring her. He was thinking straight then.
Why? With such a message, didn't you deliver it?
Menelaus intercepted it. He caused this disaster.
Do you hear this? Thetis child, son of Peleus, these infamies!
For you, it's unendurable, and for me, an insult.
His marriage to Achilles to lure my daughter to her death.
Your husband has angered me. This is not a small matter.
I am not ashamed to fall on my knees before you, son of the sea goddess as you are. I am a mortal woman, and this is no time to stand on ceremony or the protocol of rank. I'll do anything. I'll humiliate myself at your feet, if necessary, for my daughter's sake. Stand up for me. Save me from this unmerited disaster, and stand up for your wife. His wife, in name only, admittedly, but nonetheless yours for all that. I brought her here with flowers in her hair, as I thought, to a marriage, and in truth, I have led her like a sacrificial victim to the slaughter. Some of the blame will fall on you for certain if you do nothing to save her. You may not be married, but it was common knowledge that you were to be the poor girl's husband by everything that makes you a man. Your strong right arm, your manly beard, your mother's good name, your own good reputation, because it was the glory of your name that brought us to this danger. Save your own honor by saving us. No gods can help me. I can only abase myself at your knees as though they were an altar and clasp them with my prayers. I have no friends, and the unscrupulous savagery of Agamemnon's plan you now know as well as I do. I have come here, a woman, in a military base full of soldiers and marines whose lawlessness is a byword and whose casual violence makes every kind of evil-doing commonplace, and yet that anarchic energy, too, can be harnessed in a good cause. If you can convince them, If you have the courage to lift up your right arm in our defense, we'll be safe for sure. If not, that's our last hope of salvation gone.
Giving birth is the deepest of life's mysteries.
No animal fights fiercer than a mother for her child.
All my most noble qualities are stimulated to immediate action, but I am mature enough to understand the virtues of moderation, both in the anguish of grief and in the exhilaration of triumph. Such men as I am are universally acknowledged to act coolly, with good judgment and according to reason. There are certain times when one should act by instinct without too much thought, but there are also times when one must think sensibly and exercise one's intelligence. I was schooled by Chiron, a God-fearing man who brought me up to be straightforward, a direct, decent, uncomplicated fellow. If the sons of Atreus command the army sensibly, I shall obey them. If they don't, I won't. Both here and at Troy, I shall be my own man and bring some honor to the god of war with my sword too, you may be sure. As for you, my dear madam, who have suffered so cruelly at the hands of your nearest and dearest, everything a young man can do, I shall do to remove the causes of your suffering. My generosity of spirit will protect you like a shield, and your daughter will certainly not be killed by her father now she is engaged to me. I shall never allow him to use me as a mere instrument in the manufacturing of his conspiracies. If I did, my name would have murdered your child as surely as any sword, but the guilt is your husband's, not mine. The very blood in my veins would be infected, polluted with murder if that child should suffer such an intolerable injustice and on my account, because of marriage to me, be herself destroyed. What would I be worth then? Nothing at all. The most despicable worm in the whole Greek camp. Even Menelaus would seem a man beside me. If my name were to become your husband's mercenary and do his killing for him, some demon of destruction must have been my ancestor, not Peleus. No! By that son of the ocean, Nereus, the father of my mother Thetis, King Agamemnon, I swear, will not lay a finger even on the hem of your daughter's dress, much less touch her. Otherwise, call the wilderness of Mount Cephalus, where the barbarians live and where his family come from, a great city. And may my own home of fear be forever forgotten in the mouths of men. Calchas, no doubt, will bring his little jugs and basins to mystify us, but what does a priest matter? At best, he utters a few fragments of truth and a whole rubbish dump of lies, and when his prophecies prove complete nonsense, he gives himself well out of sight. It's not because of the marriage that I'm making all this fuss. Thousands of girls are desperate for the chance to get into bed with me. It's because King Agamemnon has insulted me. If he wanted to use my name as a snare to trap his own child, he should have asked my permission. It was my reputation that attracted Clytemnestra to bring her daughter here, not her husband's command. If the Greeks had asked for the use of my name to make the trip to Troy possible, I wouldn't have refused them, not my fellow soldiers, my colleagues in this great venture. But as it is, these generals treat me as a nonentity, as though whether they honor or shame me were a matter of not the slightest concern to either of them. But anyone who tries to take your daughter away from me will be practice meat for my iron sword to see how bloodstains suit the blade before I go to Troy. But don't be frightened. I know I'm talking like a god, and a very great one at that. In fact, I'm a man, not a god, though by my actions I shall certainly become one.
That speech was worthy of you, son of Peleus.
And of your mother, whose cradle was the sea.
How can I find the right words to express my gratitude to you or to eulogize you as you deserve without embarrassing you with flattery or offending you by undervaluing your virtues? The best men hate those who overpraise them, and I am ashamed to be burdening you with my private anguish. The pain is all mine. It is my heart that's breaking, not yours. And yet there is something admirable when a good man stoops down from his own good fortune to help someone less fortunate. Take pity on me, because my case is desperate. I thought you were going to be my son-in-law. A pathetic illusion that turned out to be. But think what bad luck it will be for you in your future marriage to remember the circumstances of my daughter's death and your part in it. You should do everything in your power to avoid that. What you said first was to the point, and what you said last. If you choose to save her, my daughter will be saved. Shall I bring her out here? Shall she kneel before you and beg for her life? It's not right to make a young girl do such a thing, but she'll do it if that's what you want. She'll look you straight in the eye, too. Not brazenly or cheaply, but with a modest nobility as becomes a princess. If I can persuade you without seeing her, then let her preserve her modesty indoors. But if she must come out, she'll come!
No, don't bring her out here just to look at me. Nor, dear lady, should we give stupid people the opportunity to laugh at us. The soldiers have nothing to do. The whole army is unemployed and unrestrained, too, by being away from home. They'll have nothing better than malicious gossip. It's irrelevant to me whether you implore me on your knees or not. I have made up my mind that I shall save you at whatever cost from this disaster. Now, listen to me. Take good note of my words. I never lie. If I prove a liar or my promise is worthless, let me die on the spot. I shall deign to live only if I can save your child.
The heavens bless men who help people in trouble.
Now listen, this is what I want you to do.
What do you suggest? I'll do as you ask.
Persuade her father to have second thoughts.
But that's hopeless. He's a coward. He's scared of the army.
But good arguments, like good wrestlers, overcome the bad.
There's cold comfort in that. Well, tell me, what must I do?
First, go down on your knees and beg him not to kill your child. If he won't listen, come straight back to me. If he does listen and agrees with what you say, then I need not do anything, since by that very action your child will be saved. In that case, too, my relations with your husband wouldn't be compromised, would indeed become closer, and the army at large could hardly criticize me if I achieved all this by diplomacy, not force. That would be a satisfactory outcome for all of us, for you and for our friends. And I need not be involved at all.
You give good advice, I'm sure, counseling restraint. And I shall act upon it. But supposing he ignores me, or gives me nothing in return for my pleading, what then? Where shall I see you? My situation will be quite desperate. You're the only man who can help me. Where shall I find you?
When you need me, I shall be there, never fear. But make sure no one sees you making a fuss through the whole Greek camp looking for me. That would be a disgrace to your father, Tyndareus, who's a good fellow with a very high reputation among the Greeks. Don't let him down or slander his good name.
No, you're right. You take the lead and I'll follow. If the gods exist at all, they will surely reward such a principled stand as yours. And if not, then everything is meaningless and nothing worth doing.
Song they sang, how wildly the music of instruments rang, the sighing African flute and the soft voice of the lute,
while the dancers' beating feet kept time with the song, and the oboe sang shrill and sweet. When to Peleus' wedding feast the 9 muses came on Pelias' high pasture, a host whose fair hair swung to the beat of their golden sandaled feet, singing in praise of Thetis' name, a song so melodious it carried her fame, Antiochus' son, her husband, beyond Pelian's hills, where the centaurs gallop and the green forest sleeps. Phrygian Prince Ganymede heard it, and fills Zeus' cup from the wine bowl's golden deeps. Dardanus' son, Zeus' favorite, and never spills the nectar. And in honor of marriage, circling hand in hand, the 50 daughters of Nereus dance on the white sea sand. Half horses, half men, to where the gods lay feasting, their heads crowned with leaves, the centaurs came riding, each with a lance of pine, to drink the immortal wine, in Bacchus' golden bowl at the sea nymph's wedding. With one voice they call, good luck to Nereus' daughter. Chiron, who can see the mind of Apollo, has brought her news of a son she will bear, whose name will be known everywhere, a great light shining from Thessaly. He will lead his myrmidons over the sea to Troy, to blast with spear and shield and fire Priam's great city. In helmet and breastplate of gold, Hephaestus' masterpiece, such as the gods wear, his mother's parting gift to her bold son. Was such feasting seen ever before? The gods sat at table in immortal company, when Peleus married the Nereid, firstborn child of the sea.
golden hair. Greek soldiers will set a crown of flowers as they garland a heifer for the knife and fire.
Pure from the mountain, dappled red and white. Warm blood from the trembling throat they will draw.
And that blood will be yours.
Not from a beast, bred where the herdsman whistles and sings, but a girl her mother nurtured to be bride and mother of kings.
Crimson the face of shame.
Can goodness prevail?
Can virtue prevail?
A godless generation is in power.
Where is decency?
Who speaks her name?
Lost in the crowd, trampled to death,
Stifled, choked
by the stinking breath of self-interest.
In this darkest hour, when the fear of God is dead, brotherhood gone rotten,
And the vengeance the jealous gods exact from men, forgotten.
I've come out here to look for my husband. He left the headquarters some time ago and hasn't been seen since. My poor child is in tears, if you could call it that. Such screams of despair and anguish. She knows the truth now, that her father plans to kill her. But talk of the devil, here he comes. Agamemnon, that father who shall now be exposed as guilty of planning the most unnatural crime of all, the murder of his own child.
Our daughter of leader. I'm glad to catch you here outside the building. I've things to tell you while Iphigenia is inside. Things not suitable for a young girl to hear just before her wedding.
What things that can only be said outside?
Send the girl out here, tell her her father is waiting and everything's prepared. The chalices are ready and the barley meal we sprinkle to purify the altar fire. The victim's ready too. Her red blood must spurt from a pure white neck in honor of Artemis to celebrate the marriage.
Yes. Fine words. It all sounds most admirable. But what words will describe your admirable actions? How fine will they be? My daughter, come out here. You know it all now. All your father's plans. And your baby brother Orestes, bring him too. Wrap him snugly in the folds of your dress. So, here she is, obeying you to the letter. Now I shall speak for her and for myself.
My child, why are you crying? No more smiles for me now, all downcast looks, wiping your eyes with the hem of your gown.
Oh, dear God, where can I begin? With pain like this, there's no beginning, middle, or end. Wherever you begin, it's the same agony.
What's this all about? You must rehearse this tearful performance together, I think.
One question, husband. Answer it like a man.
Don't give me orders. Of course I'll answer.
Your daughter, and my daughter. Are you going to kill her?
Am I what? What a terrifying question. How foul of you to suspect.
Be quiet, just answer it. I can't put it more simply.
Ask a reasonable question, you'll get a rational answer.
A question and no other. I want a straight answer.
My destiny, my bad luck. I've done nothing to deserve this.
It's my bad luck! And hers, all three of us the same!
Have I wronged you?
You ask me that. Have you any brains left, or are you quite stupid?
I'm finished. No chance. They know everything.
Yes, I know it all. The whole filthy business. And this silence of yours, this muttering in your beard is as good as a confession. There's no need for you to say anything.
Am I trying to speak? There's nothing to say. Why brazen out this disaster by telling lies about it?
Well, now, you listen to me. It's my turn now. And there'll be no riddling or obscurity in what I have to say. Just plain words that you don't dare deny. In the first place, and what a shameful beginning that was, you married me against my will. You took me by force, killed my first husband, Tantalus, dragged dragged the baby from my breast and smashed its head open on the ground. My brothers, the twin sons of Zeus, shining like a vision on their white horses, led an army against you, and you groveled before my old father Tyndareus. His diplomacy saved your life and even got you back into my bed as my second husband. And from that very day, when I reconciled myself to marriage with you, you may appear as my principal witness when I say that I have been a model wife, both personally to you and in organizing your household. Is sexually modest and utterly chaste, so that your homecoming has always been your greatest pleasure, and when you opened your front door, the whole world could see your good fortune demonstrated. Bad wives are commonplace, never in short supply, but it's a lucky man that has such a wife as I have been to you. I have borne you 3 daughters, and finally this son. And now, without any feeling or conscience, you will tear one of my girls from me, like ripping the flesh from my own body. And when you are asked why you will kill her, for what good reason, what will you answer? Should I say it for you? So that Menelaus can have Helen back. What a glorious action, to ransom a whore with a child's life. To buy back with what is most precious, the commonest, cheapest thing in the world. So you do that. You go off to war for years, perhaps, leaving me here at home. And how do you think I will feel, alone in the house, whenever I see her empty chair, her empty bedroom in the children's wing? Should I sit there, with red eyes, singing the same sad song? Your father killed you, little girl. He gave you life, and then he took it. No hired killer, but his own hand took away your life. What welcome, what homecoming for him, my little girl? We need no prompting, would we? The girls you left behind, and their mother to give you the welcome you deserve. By the gods! Don't force me to harden my heart against you, or to think thoughts that are evil. And don't force yourself to think or do what you know to be wrong. But suppose you do sacrifice your child. What will you ask for in your prayers? What blessings will you pray for as you cut your daughter's throat? A homecoming as filthy as your filthy departure? And what blessings do you suppose I should call down upon you in my prayers? Do you imagine the gods to be idiots who will reward murderers just for the asking? And when you finally get back to Argus, will you open your arms and expect your children to embrace you? You would have no right to ask such a thing. Which of them could look you in the eye or trust your embrace, knowing that you killed their sister? Have you followed my reasoning? Have you thought this thing through at all? Or is your only thought how to remain general of the army? A real general would have stood up like a leader among the Greeks with wisdom and justice, saying, "Soldiers of Greece, do you really want to sail to Phrygia? Then you must draw lots and see whose daughter must die." That would have been the just, the equitable thing to do. Not picking on your own daughter to save the whole Greek nation. If that's the case, let Menelaus kill his daughter, Hermione, in front of her mother. It's his business, the whole expedition, not yours. But as things stand now, I, who have been utterly chaste and faithful to you, must watch my daughter die, while Helen, the whore, whose promiscuity is the only cause of this disaster, can take her little girl back to Sparta and live in peace and prosperity. Now you tell me if anything I've said is one whit less than the plain truth of the dirty business. But even if it is, for God's sake, I beg you, don't kill our daughter! For a sane man, there isn't any choice!
To save a child's life is good morality in anyone's language.
Be persuaded, Agamemnon.
Father, if I had Orpheus' voice and could charm the rocks and stones to dance to my music, I'd so ravish your ears with my songs that everyone would do my bidding like slaves. As it is, I have no skill in singing, no magical powers, except the power of tears, so they must serve for weapons. I have no garlands to embrace you with, only arms, this body of mine which my mother bore you. Don't end my life before I've lived. I'm too young to die yet. Life is so precious. Even the plain daylight is so beautiful. Don't drive me down into the darkness of the grave. Not yet. I am the first of your children to call you father. The first you called your child. The first to clamber up onto your knees and to smother you with kisses and be kissed in return. Do you remember what you used to say? Well, my little girl, shall I live to see you happily married in some other man's house, living in a manner worthy Agamemnon's daughter? And then remember what I used to say, pulling at your beard as I stroke it now. What shall I do for you, I said. When you're an old man, I will take you into my house and look after you there, because you looked after and brought me up in your house. So that makes it fair. I remember every word of those childish conversations, but you must have forgotten them if you're prepared to kill me. No, I beg you, by our ancestor Pelops, by your own father Atreus, by my mother, standing here, whose agony brought me into the world, and must now endure a more terrible anguish as I go out of it. No. That marriage between Paris and Helen, what has it got to do with me? Tell me, Father, one reason why that marriage caused my death. Look at me now. Look me in the eye. Kiss me again, so that if I die, if you are quite hardened to persuasion or reason, I will have that at least to remember you by. Baby brother! You are only a little boy. You can't help those who love you yet. But you're old enough to cry, as I'm crying, to beg you not to kill your sister. The tiniest child has a sense of evil, even before he can speak. He recognizes that with his tears. His silence is the most eloquent persuasion. Pity me, Father. I'm young. Spare my life. We both beg you the same thing, moistening your beard with our tears. The grown girl, the infant boy scarce out of the womb. One word will convince you, I know. Nothing is sweeter than life. The joy of being alive. To be dead is to be nothing. Non-existent. In the grave. Only madmen want to die. It is far better to live in misery than to die even the most glorious death.
Your wickedness, Helen, will bring misery to the sons of Atreus.
And to their children.
You don't have to tell me what's pitiable and what's not. I love my children, only a madman doesn't. It's terrifying to me. Wife, listen. To be pushed to such desperate extremes, but it's equally terrifying to refuse. I've got to do it. Look around you. Do you see this massive army? Do you see all these stationary ships like a fence shutting us in? Do you see all this weaponry and armor? All the kings and leaders of the Greek army who won't get a passage across to Troy, nor ever conquer those famous towers and terraces of the citadel unless I sacrifice you. Calchas the prophet says so. And there's a terrifying energy, like the uncontrollable power of lust in the Greek army, to get across to those barbarians and teach them once and for all they cannot carry off the wives of Greece without terrible retribution. And they will kill my 2 little girls in Argos. And you two, and me as well, if I refuse to obey the commands of the goddess. Do you understand? Menelaus hasn't forced my hand, my girl. I'm not doing this to please him, but for Greece. It's for Greece, whether I like it or not, you must be sacrificed. We are all of us under that obligation. Greece must be free. And as far as it lies in you to achieve that, so far you must go, and so must I too. We are all Greeks. We must not allow the wives of Greece to be ravished from their beds by barbarians.
across the bay. How can I bear such pain? Your father sells you as a bride for death and then runs away.
The song of death for us both now, mother and daughter, a last threnody, and we must sing it together. Fate, like a thundercloud, darkens the sky. Never bright daylight again for me, never the sun's warm shining. My way is to darkness and cold eternity. Oh, you snow-covered valleys of Phrygia and Mount Ida, where Priam took the baby he had dragged from its mother and left it alone in your forest to die. You sheltered him, nurtured him, so that in Troy they called him Prince Paris of Ida, the mountain shepherd boy. And why so softly did you shelter him there, Paris Alexander, in cattle stall and sheepfold, like a child of nature, where springs rise in secret and white streams fall, and by the shining mirrored water nymphs comb their golden hair, in river meadows thick with bluebells that goddesses gather for garlands such as immortals wear. To that fated place where Paris lay came Pallas Athene one ominous day, and dangerous Aphrodite from Cyprus, and Hera, and Hermes, Zeus' messenger, all three. Aphrodite, voluptuous with sex, Pallas, the bearer of the spear of law, and Hera, she who shares the bed of Zeus, determined to play the bitter game of beauty, and bear away the prize that will breed bloodshed and horror, and bring death for me, my death, all for the promise of immortal fame in a few yards of earth. This sacrifice, my life, Artemis demands. My blood must launch the ships for Troy. Oh, mother. My mother. My father commands my obedience. He betrays me and runs away, leaving me defenseless. My bitterest curse, all bitterness on Helen, and the fate that binds my life to expiate her sin. What could be worse? Murdered by a father's sacrilegious hand. Oh, why did the bronze-beaked ships come here, with their oars of slender pine, to be beached on the shore of Aulis on their way to Troy? And why did Zeus send a contrary wind against our fleet, while he smooths the way for other sailors? Who knows the mind of a god, who makes sailing fair for some men, and blows others to despair? Frills some ships' sails till they bulge with joy, slack canvas for others, breezes abating to a dead calm, and the misery of waiting. So many agonies, so much suffering mortal men inherit. Our term is fixed. Terror our ending. None can escape it. But never greater agony, never more terrible slaughter inflicted upon the sons of Greece than by Helen, Tandarius' daughter.
I pity you, child. In your short life, nothing could deserve such bad luck, such injustice, such an ending.
Chance, warrior pride, it's your last chance!
Unhappy child of leader!
You call me by my true name!
There's a riot in the army!
Shouting, what about?
It's your daughter, they're saying!
What?
That she must be killed!
No, speak for her!
I got into a fight for her!
A different what fight?
The real thing, they stoned me!
You tried to save her!
That's right!
Who dare lay hands on you?
The whole bloody army!
What the movement is there?
They threw the first stones!
called off my marriage, they said.
What did you reply?
Said, don't you lay a finger on my wife.
That's right.
Said her father promised her.
They're brought here from Argos.
But they shouted me down.
Civilized robber!
I'll fight them for you still.
One man against the army.
See these chaps with my armor.
Oh, God bless you for your courage.
The whole world will bless me.
Who dare sacrifice her now?
No one while I live. Thousands of them. Odysseus in command.
Odysseus' family?
That's the one.
What did they choose, or did he choose himself?
Both knowing him.
Oh, filthy choice. Child murderer!
Don't worry. I'll stop him.
Will they drag her away?
Right first time by a golden hair.
What should I do?
Hang on to her tight.
My bare arms will protect her.
It may come to that.
Mother, listen to me. Don't be angry with your husband. That's pointless now. No one can easily bear what's unbearable. Achilles deserves our thanks for trying to help us, but we mustn't let him destroy his position in the army and maybe lose his life for our sakes and to no purpose. That would be disaster for him and it won't save us. Mother, listen to me. Let me tell you what I think. That has suddenly become very clear to me, and if I must die, let me do it decently, with dignity and You can't deny what I'm saying. If you look at it my way, you'll know I'm right. God's nation is greater than Greece! And all the Greeks now look to me for an example. Everything depends on me. The safe passage of the invasion fleet, the destruction of Troy, and safety in the future for all Greek wives from abduction by foreigners. No woman again shall ever be dragged away from her home and contentment by force, once the world has seen the price Paris will pay for the rape of Helen. I shall achieve that at a stroke, simply by giving my life. I shall become famous as the woman who set Greece free! So, why should I hang on to life so desperately? When you gave me birth, Mother, it was as a Greek woman, part of the Greek nation, not just for yourself. There are 10,000 men here, armed to the teeth. Another 10,000 stripped to the oars, ready to row. And why? Because their fatherland, the beloved country, has been wronged and insulted. And for its sake, they will dare anything, however dangerous, against their enemies, and die for Greece if need be. How can my single life stand against that? How could it be right? How could it be just? Could I say one word in my own defense? What arguments could I use? And there's one more thing. Why should Achilles take on the whole Greek army single-handed and probably be killed for the sake of a woman? What use are women in war? One brave man is worth 10,000 of us. And if Artemis, being a great goddess, demands my body, who am I, a mere mortal, to oppose her wishes? That's out of the question! I dedicate my body as a gift for Greece. Take me, sacrifice me, and then to Troy plunder the whole city. When you leave it, leave our ruin! That'll be my memorial. A Greek victory shall be the marriage I never celebrated, the children I never bore, a name remembered through generations. It is Greek destiny, Mother, to rule barbarians. Barbarians must never rule Greeks. Why? Because they are born slaves, and for Greeks, freedom is our birthright!
The young girl is a model of nobility.
There's something corrupt in a god that demands such sacrifices.
Daughter of Agamemnon! What a blessing it would have been if the gods had allowed me to win you for my pride. I envy Greece, whose wife you now become, and I envy you too for giving your body for Greece. Everything you said was admirable, memorably expressed, and worthy of the fatherland! You have decided not to fight the gods. They are too powerful. You have faced the inevitable by doing the wise and the correct thing. Such strength of character only increases my passionate desire to have you for my wife. You are a remarkable woman, and worthy of your country. Now listen to me. I want to do everything I can to save you. For the chance of taking you home with me, I dare anything, and by my mother's life, I swear it. I am angry and disappointed not to be able to save you, even if that means fighting the whole Greek army. Think for a moment. It's a dreadful thing to die.
No, listen to me. I have no hope now. No fear either. They mean nothing anymore. It is bad enough that Helen's body causes men to fight and kill one another. You mustn't die, my friend, nor kill anyone on my account. So leave me now. Let me save Greece if it's in my power to do it.
What courage! What greatness of spirit! What can I say to such resolution? Let me speak the plain truth and call you a superior being, an aristocratic soul. Nevertheless, it is possible you might regret what you said in the heat of the moment and want to change your mind, so listen carefully to what I'm saying. I shall place my weapons right next to the altar, fully prepared not to allow them to kill you, to stop them by force, if necessary. It may be that even you, when the knife is at your throat, will see things differently and remember my promise. You won't lose your life for a momentary impulse, afterward regretted, not in my presence. I shall go now, taking my weapons with me to the temple of the goddess Artemis. I shall stand right by the altar and wait there till you come.
Tears. Why are you crying?
I have some cause to cry. My heart is broken.
I'll be frightened if you cry. Do one thing for me.
Whatever, I'll do it. I can't refuse.
Don't wear black for me or cut off your hair.
How can you ask that when I've lost my daughter?
No, mother, not lost. Remembered forever.
I've lost her. I must grieve.
No, no grief. Not even a grave.
No grief? Not everyone must grieve for a child.
My tomb shall be the altar of Artemis, Zeus' daughter.
I'll do what you ask, child. I know you must be right.
I'm the lucky one, to give all I have for Greece.
The two sisters, what message can I give them?
That they must never wear black for me either.
But something personal, some loving word.
Just say goodbye. Tell Orestes to be a man.
Cuddle him close then. You'll never see him again.
My little darling. You did all you could, didn't you?
Can I do anything for you when I get back home?
Yes. Don't hate my father. Remember, he's your husband.
He's running his own race now against terror.
He doesn't want to kill me. He's doing it for Greece.
Oh, it's a disgusting sham. His ancestors will disown him.
Who will escort me? They'll hold my head back by the hair.
I'll come with you.
No, Mother. That wouldn't be right.
I'll hang on to your clothes.
No, Mother. Stay here. It'll be better that way for both of us. One of my father's guards, please. Let one of them escort me to the garden of Artemis where I am to be slaughtered.
Oh my God, you're lying!
And I shall never return!
You're leaving me, I'm your mother!
We don't deserve this, do we?
No, don't go, just wait a moment.
Not one tear, Mother. Not one. Women, sing a hymn for me. chant of my fate, decreed by Artemis, the daughter of Zeus. And let all the sons of Greece throughout the camp be silent. This moment is holy. Sprinkle the barley to purify the flames, and let my father begin to circle the altar, always to the right according to the ritual. My sacrifice brings salvation for the Greeks, and victory! Phrygian people's despair. Crown me with flowers, bind me with garlands, set blossoms like jewels in my hair. Wash my hands in the ewers of holy water, and dance to Artemis. Link hands in circles round the shrine to where her altar stands. All honor to the goddess! This blood of mine will cancel the god's decree, and the ships will put to sea. My mother. My eyes flow like fountains for you here. They must be dry at the altar. Sing, women, from the temple where it faces across the straits to where Calchas lies. At Aulis, the crowded harbors ring with the shouts of soldiers, fired for war. A forest of weapons waving by my name alone inspired. Glory to the motherland! I shall never see Mycenae again. Goodbye forever.
Do you praise the Cyclops' masterpiece? The stones their hands laid, curse you city.
That city bred me to be a beacon for Greece. I give my life to Greece now. I give it willingly.
Your glory will shine through eternity.
Goodbye, daylight. Great torch of the world. Goodbye. Another life for me now. Another time all unknown and strange. My eternal home. Goodbye, daylight.
to despair. Clusters of flowers weaved in garlands for death in her golden hair. Veiled in the purity of holy water, to where the fearful altar stands of the bloodthirsty goddess, to offer, for the blood sacrifice she demands, her own white throat, and suffer the gash of the knife, and flood the altar with sacrificial blood.
Your father waits there. He fills the bowl with wine and pure water.
The whole Greek army is assembled,
burning to begin the Trojan slaughter.
Grant us luck, Queen Artemis,
to achieve that goal.
Great lady, we've satisfied your ancient yearning for blood.
Launch our expedition against Phrygia
and Trojan cunning.
And may the greatest soldier of the Greek nation, Agamemnon, end the story, crowned with immortal glory.
If you're inside the headquarters, come out! I've something extraordinary to tell you!
I heard you shouting and came out at once. Something in your voice made me shudder with terror. Can there be a greater disaster than what I already suffer? There can be nothing worse.
It's your daughter. Something happened. It was awesome, wonderful.
Speak out then, hold nothing back.
My dear mistress, not a word. I'll tell you everything right from the beginning, though my mind is confused still. My tongue might garble it a bit. When we came to the sacred grove and the gardens thick with flowers where Artemis's temple stands, we found the whole Greek army on parade. They're all pressing forward and eager to see everything. And when Agamemnon saw his daughter entering the temple precinct, correctly prepared as a sacrificial victim, he cried out aloud in terrible pain, then tried to turn his head away from her and from the army and wept like a child, hiding his face in his cloak. She came close enough to touch him. This man, who was her father, and said this, or something like it. Here I am, Father, as you commanded me, ready to play my part. I give my body for the sake of my country and all the nations of the Greeks most willingly. Take me by the hand to the altar. Sacrifice me there, if that is what the goddess requires. I wish you luck, and insofar as it lies in me to influence a goddess, all prosperity. May you win the great prize of victory and return in triumph to your fatherland. But because I come willingly, please, don't let any of the Greeks touch me. I won't make a noise, and I'll stretch my neck forward without any fear. Well, everyone present was immensely impressed at this young girl's extraordinary courage, and her decorum, her sense of what was right. Then Talthybius, whose duty it was, stepped forward and called aloud to the army that speaking was utterly forbidden, and that each man should observe a reverent silence. The priest, Calchas, drew the knife from its sheath, so sharp it almost cut you to look at it, placed it on a golden dish, then crowned the girl's head with flowers. Then Peleus' son, Achilles, took the golden dish, sprinkled it with holy water from the vessels, then solemnly bearing it around the altar, uttered this prayer: "Daughter of Zeus, Artemis the hunter, thirsty for the blood of wild animals, moon goddess, bright light, wheeling in the dark heavens, receive this sacrifice we offer. The whole Greek army and its leader, Agamemnon, the pure blood from the white neck of an innocent virgin. Grant us in return a fair wind and good passage for our ships to Troy, and that we may storm the city and overwhelm the citadel by the force of our arms." The two brothers, the sons of Atreus, stood there, eyes down, staring at the ground, and the whole army followed suit. Then the priest lifted up the knife, said a short prayer over the girl, and took level aim at her throat, ready to cut it. And I can tell you, as I stood there with my head down, I was sick to the stomach. I could feel the pain in my own heart. Then suddenly, something wonderful happened. I can only call it a miracle. We all heard the knife strike her throat horribly clearly. But there was no girl stretched out on the ground where we expected her to be. Calchas suddenly shouted out, and the whole army cried out in amazement, like an echo, seeing before their eyes what was clearly the visible hand of the gods, something we couldn't believe, even though it was there before our eyes. What lay gasping its life out on the ground and flooding the altar with its blood was a deer. A large one, too, worthy of a goddess. Calchas spoke up at once with what joy in his voice you can imagine. "Leaders of the Greek army, feast your eyes on this sacrifice, which the goddess herself offers on the altar, a deer, bred to run like the wind on the mountains. This is a sacrifice she welcomes, prefers even before the girl, not wanting to stain her altar with the blood of a virgin, so noble, both in her birth and her actions. This is an offering she delights in, and she grants us in return a fair wind and a fast passage to sweep down upon Troy. So let every soldier and sailor now summon up his courage and return to his ship and be ready to embark this very day, leaving these safe harbors here at Aulis to launch into the long swell of the Aegean. Then, when the whole sacrifice had burned to ashes, on the altar in the sacrificial flame, he made the customary prayer for a good passage and safe return for the army. And Agamemnon sent me to tell you the news, and particularly to emphasize what a marvelous favor he has received from the gods, and how it confers on him imperishable glory among the Greeks. I was there, and I'm telling you what happened exactly as I saw it with my own eyes. The girl, quite obviously, has been transported up to the heavens to live among the gods. So you can put an end to all your grief for her. And there is no cause at all for anger towards your husband. Divine intervention into the affairs of men is always unexpected. And those whom the gods especially love, they'll save some way or another. In one day, you have seen your daughter's death and rebirth. Darkness transformed into light.
Could any messenger bring happier news? Your daughter is alive, living among the gods.
My dear girl, which of the gods came like a thief and robbed me of my treasure. How shall I say my last goodbye to you? Shall I weep to earth or to heaven? And you, Captain, do you honestly expect me to believe this story? Isn't it a lie, concocted for my benefit, to soothe me and keep me calm? You bring me plasters for a broken heart.
Here comes the Lord Agamemnon. He'll tell you the same story, I'm sure, and understand what it means.
Everyone will envy us our good luck with our eldest daughter. She's one of the company of the gods, of that there is no question. Your duty now is to take good care of that little sprig of mine and to go back home. The army, as you can see, is ready to embark. And it may be some considerable time before I return and pay my respects to you in person. I hope things go well with you.
Make your journey, son of Atreus, with joy to the land of Phrygia, and joyfully return, loaded with the treasure of plundered Troy.
Is anybody out there?